Hey guys, what is up? This is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and in today's video, I just want to tell you guys that I'm in Virginia right now visiting my grandmother, like my paternal grandmother, and by that I mean my dad's mom. So we're just here in Virginia for the weekend to visit my grandma, of course, like my dad's mom, which is my paternal grandmother. So yeah, we're just gonna be here for the weekend until tomorrow on Sunday. We'll be back home in Maryland tomorrow on Sunday. But last night, me and my dad just went and saw this new movie which came out on Christmas Day. And at first I was a little skeptical on seeing this movie since, well, I'll get to that in a minute. So, but then me and my dad just went and saw this movie last night at an AMC movie theater. And of course, this review is going to be on A Complete Unknown. A Complete Unknown is directed by James Mangold, who's known for directing Logan, Ford vs. Ferrari, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And yes, he also directed Walk the Line as well. And this movie stars Timothée Chalamet as a singer known as Bob Dylan. And so in this movie, in the early 1960s, 19-year-old Bob Dylan arrives in New York with his guitar and revolutionary talent, destined to change the course of American music, forming his most intimate relationships during his rise to fame. He grows restless with the folk movement, making a controversial choice that reverberates worldwide. And yeah. So yeah, I just got done seeing this movie at AMC last night, and yeah, I actually saw this movie late at night, and so, like I said, at first I was a little skeptical on seeing this movie, mainly because I actually never listened to any of Bob Dylan's music, even though I kind of might have heard of some of his songs, even though I probably forgot about them, maybe just one of them, but. I was kind of never really into Bob Dylan, so that's why I wasn't too sure about seeing this movie. But after hearing that this movie actually got really good reviews, and I actually reconsidered and went and saw this movie anyway. And of course, my dad wanted to see this movie too, since, like I said, we're in Virginia for the weekend. And 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 after seeing this movie, I gotta say, A Complete Unknown was actually really good. It was actually a great movie, and I surprisingly enjoyed it. Yeah, and of course, this is also my third movie under the name Searchlight Pictures. After the previous two films from Searchlight Pictures, I went and saw in theaters back in 2020 and 2022. I also saw Downhill and The Menu. Yeah, The Menu, which was one of my all-time favorite movies of 2022, and Downhill with Julie Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell. Yeah. And what I like most about this movie is that I gotta say the soundtrack itself was actually pretty good. Yeah, despite for a guy like me who's never into Bob Dylan music, I gotta say the soundtrack in this movie was actually pretty good. It wasn't really that bad. Yeah, and I gotta say the story and screenplay itself I thought was pretty interesting too, like a Bob Dylan biopic, and yeah, and I surprisingly liked it. Although my only flaw I do have with this movie is that the pacing is kind of slow during the first half, but then once we get to the last act, then yeah, it managed to be handled out pretty well in the end. So yeah, that was like my only nitpick on the film is that the pacing is kind of slow during the first half of the film, but of course, but that aside, I hardly felt a thing. So yeah, I know I always complained about pacing and runtimes a lot, but that's just me. But that aside, I also really like the acting performances too. I gotta say the performances were really good too, especially Timothée Chalamet, who plays Bob Dylan. He gives like a fantastic performance as Bob Dylan, and Timothée Chalamet actually does a really fantastic job. Edward Norton was also good in the film, as well as Elle Fanning. Oh yeah, and Boyd Holbrook, who I've never even heard of before, he plays Johnny Cash in this movie. And yeah, Johnny Cash is in the movie, and like played by Boyd Holbrook, and yeah, and which kind of does make sense because James Mangold directed both this movie and Walk the Line, which is a Johnny Cash biopic, which I really loved Walk the Line. And yeah, and in the end, guys, A Complete Unknown was an awesome, great movie. Yeah. And also, I can definitely tell this movie's gonna get some Oscar nominations at next year's Academy Awards. Maybe for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Sound. Well, who knows? Only the Academy knows. So we'll wait and see what gets nominated. But I already know this. But I can already tell this movie's gonna get some Oscar nominations at next year's Academy Awards. That's all I know. So there you have it. So overall, A Complete Unknown was a great movie, and I'm gonna give A Complete Unknown 4.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, like since the holidays and Christmas is over, and if you're interested in checking out a movie that came out on Christmas Day, then I say this is a good one to check out. Even if you like Bob Dylan, then this is a good one to check out. And yes, that Robert Eggers horror movie Nosferatu, that actually came out as well. But I still haven't seen the original silent German film Nosferatu, but maybe I will soon at some point. And I'll try to look into like checking out the newer one that Robert Eggers directed, but yeah. It's up to me, and we'll see what happens. So, for now, A Complete Unknown was a great movie. So there you have it, guys. That's my review on A Complete Unknown. And that's going to be it for this video, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying, goodbye everybody, and that's about it.